Hello, welcome everybody to End Times Talk. Good afternoon. I'm just going to hop right into this. I want to make sure this is big enough for everybody to see. So they're saying escalation alert, Iran on edge. Reports are flooding in from Peron, Tehran province. Multiple fires, thick black smoke, widespread power outages, and what residents describe as loud explosions are rocking the area. Eyewitnesses are saying that there's blasts that have been heard across several blocks. Fires ignited shortly after. There have been power cut. There's power has been cut to parts of the city, and a jet allegedly has been spotted overhead near the site. Peron isn't some random dot on the map. It sits in Tehran province within reach of major infrastructure and key transit corridors tied to the capital's southern perimeter. Um, there the some of the things like again explosions, immediate power disruption, air activity overhead, and multiple ignition points. Uh, they're saying that the headline is that's not a gas leak, that's a strategic signature. If confirmed, this marks a significant shift. Precision activity near the capital region signals escalation beyond proxy theaters. And I mean, this would mean like with all the threats that have been happening, and like I told you, Russia and China are also in the area as well. This could be the beginning of something really big right now, everybody. Like this could be huge. And here's video. I'm gonna back it up here so you can see it, and I'll blow it up here. So there's been multiple things, multiple explosions. And I also want to state that, we do know that Iran puts out a lot of propaganda and things like that. So I'm not going to say, oh, this is 100% for sure, but I'm 90% for sure that this is going on because there is other videos emerging of what has taken place. Give me a moment here, and we'll just go through this together. Here's more video here. I think it's the same video. Yeah, it's the same video. Now, here's the thing. There's even more. All right, this is just other. That was the other day. Hold on. Sorry about this. Hold on. So here's more footage. You can see where it's not just in the desert either where this has happened. All right, look at this here. Here's a picture of the smoke. There's another picture. All right, give me a moment here. Here's more video here. And we do know that there are two aircraft carriers in the area. There's a little plume of smoke up here in the mountains there. We do know that there's the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford. Also, when you have aircraft carriers and any aircraft carrier, destroyer ship, or anything like that that's out there, there's always going to be submarines that move with them. Let's see what else we can find here. There's other people reporting on this 40 minutes ago. Let's see here. Here's more pictures right here. So it looks like definitely multiple areas, not just one area. Some of it looks like it's in the desert, some in the city here. It looks like some kind of installation has been hit. All right, hold on here. Some of the same videos. Reports are emerging that powerful explosions have been recorded at an underground military facility in the Iranian city of Pahran in Tehran province, accompanied by large columns of smoke and fire. Right here on the 22nd, this is Grok coming out with it. Reports indicate explosions in Pahran, Iran, obviously February 22nd. So it looks like this is legit, with smoke rising and power outages, possible ties to military facilities, including IRGC sites. That's the Iranian Guard. However, Iranian officials deny explosions, calling it a reed fire. Doesn't look like a reed fire to me near the river. No confirmed casualties as of now. Details are sparse and conflicting, monitoring for updates, but it says that it looks like it's legit. This is what they're putting out there for a reed fire. This is what Iran's putting out. That does not look like what I'm seeing elsewhere. That doesn't look anything like it. It's not filling up sky high. And here's the actual stuff. It says multiple fires, and this is a guy from Iran. All right. So again, right here, look up in the upper right-hand corner. Multiple fires reported across Pahran and Iran's Tehran province, with thick clouds of smoke and power cuts. Some residents said they heard explosions. Iranian media say dry reed beds along the Shur River have caught fire. And this does not look like what we've been seeing. The small plumes you're seeing right here, those are really small compared to what we've seen elsewhere. And it looks like they just set that stuff. You know, you got firefighters standing right here. You'd think that they'd be a little bit worried. They're filming. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They're filming it because they're trying to get the propaganda out there that, oh, Iran hasn't been attacked or anything like that. So just putting that out there. And you'd think that if there's fires in the reeds because of how dry it is, you'd be getting to your job and trying to put it out so it doesn't spread and become a wildfire maybe. You know, it just doesn't line up with what I'm seeing right here. They're just standing around like, hey, bro, how's it going, man? This guy's waving to a dude. He's like, hey, guy, hi, pal, how are you doing? And they're filming rather than, and it looks like some government stuff. So it looks like, in my opinion, that the fires were intentionally set. If you notice, this dude's got his, like, glove on or whatever. These guys don't. If you look, this guy's hand right here is out. But if you go over here, this guy's got gloves on that would protect him. And he's got some kind of device. It looks to me like something could be leaking out of here. That this could be like one of those devices they use to set that fire. I don't see anything there that leads me to believe. And if that is a hose, I mean, I do kind of see a line right here. But if that is a hose, why don't you have that on blasting those fires that are blazing right now? To me, it looks like it's intentionally been set. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fires. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. There's a guy filming, so that's 6. I mean, those guys could have all gone out, started those fires. The Iranian government's like, man, get this fire started, man. We need to make sure that the Americans don't think we're under attack so we don't have more people go protest in Iran. You know what I mean? So this could be propaganda because here's what they don't want. Here's what they don't want. They don't want the people in Iran that have been protesting to finally realize they're finally backing their word up. They're finally doing what they said that they were going to do. I mean, this ain't no reed fire. Look at that. That ain't a reed fire to me, man. You know? That doesn't look like a reed fire to me. That don't look like a reed fire. They definitely don't want protesters getting out in the streets being like, all right, now's the time. Let's get busy. they're finally attacking. Now we got to do what we need to do on the ground. It just, yeah, it just happened. Danica Engo. Yeah, this happened just like it must have been probably towards the early morning hours in America. It takes a while for things to emerge, on the other side of the world. It really does. Even though we have such an acceleration of information, that's why it's still daytime. It's not day. It could be getting close to dusk over there. It'll be nighttime soon. We're gonna know real soon what's really happening. But I am for one believing that that this is an actual attack. Right here, look at this right here. Grok is replying to this person, these three people. It says you're spot on. Reports from the BBC and Al Jazeera and Reuters confirm several explosions in Iran. Oh, that's just this month. Bandar Abbas on January 31st, all officially blamed on gas leaks by authorities amid U.S.-Iran tensions, blah, blah, blah. Hold on, let's see here. You can see a plume of smoke up here above the mountains. Probably a military facility on the other side. That could be the Reed fire at that point getting out of control, maybe. But it doesn't account for this, you know what I mean, in the city or near infrastructure. So it says just moments ago, it's saying explosions reported at an underground military facility in Tehran province, and an Imam Ali base in Khorramabad, western Iran. Cause unknown. This comes as Iran deploys ballistic missile launchers along its western border and southern coast ahead of a potential U.S. strike. Right here, everybody. So this was just a little bit ago, 2.5 hours ago. Again, explosions reported at an underground military facility in Tehran province, and at the Imam Ali base in Khorramabad, western Iran. Cause unknown. This comes as Iran deploys ballistic missile launchers along its western border and southern coast ahead of a potential U.S. strike. And we do know, I'll put it out here now. Hold on one second. Give me a moment here. Trying to find my clips here. I showed this the other day. This was just like 2 days ago, man. Not even. It could even have been yesterday. But yeah, I think it was 2 days ago. The day before yesterday. All right. Or the day before yesterday. Yeah, here's this clip right here.
Qatar, countries, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. Nobody could have had, you couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
And that was a couple of days ago, and then look what's happening right now, right?
But this meeting today is proof with determined leadership, nothing.
So there's that, and then hold on 1 second. And then right here, hold on, they're saying U.S. warships are in the area. Hold on. I don't want to listen to the music. Hold on. That's not those. They're just showing videos, I think. That's different. Trying to find a specific video I have. Just give me a moment here. Because the USS Gerald Ford. Yeah, right here. The USS Gerald R. Ford has just arrived in the Mediterranean right there. Just arrived in the Mediterranean. So I'm telling you, like, this is it. You know, I've been talking about this for a while, and like the thing is that like if this is actually happening, this we really could be seeing the beginnings of World War III. And the reason I say that is because of this document right here that I've talked about for forever, since the beginning of my channel. And it says, just go through it real quick so that way people are aware of it that are new to the channel. The Third World War, actually, let me just kind of give you a background on it. Albert Pike and Giuseppe Mazzini, who are the, Giuseppe Mazzini being the leader of the Illuminati in his day after Adam Weishaupt had passed it down to him upon his death. Albert Pike being a top-level Freemason, Luciferian, one of the founders of the KKK. He was the leader of the southern jurisdiction of Freemasonry, of the Scottish Rite, and a high-level occultist who is a revered Freemasonic and Illuminati writer. They got together back in August 15th in 1871 and planned out the 3 world wars. You'll have people that are going to try to discount this and say it's not real. The proof is in the pudding. I've proved this document right over and over and over again, and I could go through that, but I'm going to try to save you some time. There's other videos I've done on this, but basically it's the Third World War must be fermented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. And this could have been Israel striking Iran. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was America that struck Iran. But it says right here, give me a second here. It says the war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. I don't know if it's going to come to a full-blown destruction because we know that God said that Israel ain't going anywhere in the end times. And in fact, power is kind of transferred back to that area as the Great Tribulation unfolds. And so we know, I've always told people, I truly believe that the pre-tribulation rapture will happen in the beginning or in the middle-ish, towards the end-ish of the World War III, because I believe, and especially from my sources, that World War III will produce Antichrist. And I also believe that the year 2027 is very significant when it comes to World War III and all the different variables that we've been talking about. I think 2026 is going to be a really rough year. I think the proof is in the pudding that we've already seen that so far. But, you know, I think 2027 is really going to get bad. Heck, the rapture could happen here in 2026. And then we could, you know, see the beginning of the Great Tribulation in 2027. So it's not past the realm of possibility to think that this could take place, but I'm not a date setter. I'm not going to even say that it has to happen on a specific year. I'm just saying things are really ripe to happen right now, prophetically speaking. All right. So it says, meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, whether they're pro, you know, Islam or whether they're pro-Jew. And that's really kind of what the line is being drawn in the sand. What side of the coin are you on is what they really want. And it says that that those people will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. Then it says the Illuminati. I remember it's the Illuminati who are doing this. It says that they shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists. Nihilists are basically people that don't believe life has a purpose. They believe in no moral law. They don't believe in God. You know, it's nihilism and atheism goes really hand in hand. It's that we're all animals, act like animals, be violent, be weird, you know, no moral obligations whatsoever, like the 10 Commandments or, you know, the things that Jesus said, do and don't do. You know what I mean? And that basically all things are permissible. If it feels good, do it, is what the nihilists and the atheists believe, and that there's no standard. It's just, you know, let it be all willy-nilly. So they want to unleash those people out there. We're already seeing the protesters and all that stuff go through the roof all over the place. And things are getting violent in France and in America and just all across the board. All right, but particularly those two areas right now that I've seen. But then you have a lot of martyrdom that's happening in different countries like Sudan and Syria and Nigeria, China, Iran. You know, the persecution of the protesters in Iran. So I mean, this is really a global thing that's happening, global chaos, um, global destabilization that's taking place. And then they're saying that obviously it says that they'll unleash the nihilists and the atheists and provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror, and it very well could be, you know, mass civil war, mass revolutionary war, and World War III, all kind of combining. That would definitely be a social cataclysm. It says, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, the origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. So I think that we're on the cusp of big time violence. And like I've been telling you before, um, there is 18 executive orders, and he just did another one. So there's 19 executive orders and 11 Department of Defense initiatives that Trump has put in place already without there even being a war, without there being a war. And so, yeah, honestly, Mikolash Cage, I do at this point, I do believe that Iran was hit. I know that there is propaganda they're trying to put out there that there's wildfire in Reeds, but if you rewind the live and watch it from the beginning, you'll have all your questions answered. The evidence is pretty clear, in my opinion. Is it 100%? No. Am I 90%? Yes. If I'm wrong, I will apologize publicly, like I have done before. But what is leading me to believe that this is real is kind of all the proof is in the pudding. You know, starting from the beginning of this video. I'm just not going to backtrack right now. So, anyways, they want the citizens. It says in the third paragraph, then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. There's your Antifa and your terrorist organizations like, you know, Hamas and Hezbollah and ISIS and Al Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Taliban and all these different things. Not only that, but you have you want to know what? Laura Hyatt, didn't I tell you that today was a 666? Didn't I tell you that? That at 222, all right, which is 6, and then 222 is 6, and then you got a 6 at the end. You know what I'm saying? Today technically would be a 666, and I told Laura Hyatt this morning, early in the morning, I was like, prepare. I was like, something big's gonna happen today because you can make a 666 out of today's date. And that is a calling card of the Illuminati. They'll do like 313s or multiple 666s, things like that. And so when this attack they also do things, by their numerology and gematria and all that stuff, and they make decisions by the alignment of planets and stars and things like that. And this is something that they've been doing for a long time. But I told Laura, I said this morning, I said, I believe something big's going to happen. And it just dawned on me now that I had told you that, sister. And she's even confirming. I was on the phone with my sister, Laura. Oh, man, it must have been 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe even 1:30. And she's even confirming right here. Yeah, I did. That's exactly what I was talking about. Exactly what I was talking about. I expected something to happen, but then now that this happened, I'm like, oh man, I remembered, that I was talking to Laura and told her that this morning. But so, anyways, it says, then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude. And remember, these are Luciferians writing this crap out. Okay, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view. So, I mean, they want the people who are gun toting, right wing Christians, conservatives, They want those people to rise up against the left, the liberal, these people who are destroying civilization, destroying our children, who are all the friggin' pedophiles and all these monsters. It's no coincidence that they're letting this all out of the bag now, and it's no coincidence that we're gonna have another distraction. We're gonna have more war to distract us from the Epstein list, okay? And it ain't gonna distract me from exposing pedophiles, absolutely not. But this news has to be covered, and it has to be talked about. But so they want there to be civil war. They want there to be revolutionary war. They want there to be World War III, all going off at the same time. And they want the conservative, Republican, right-wing, Christian, Second Amendment people to rise up against the left, the liberal, the degenerate, the people who are out there who are just straight up degenerates and do chitty chitty bang bang, pow pow pow. You know what I mean? And then so out of that, they're gonna really shame, just like how, like, think of it this way, just giving you an example, all right? So for example, you have October 7th that took place, okay? And yes, there was a form of a stand down militarily. There's left-wing people who are definitely ingrained in the military and high ups in Israel. And I do believe there's a form of a stand down, absolutely, that allowed October 7th to happen. But then after that, you had Israel going after the people that were responsible for this and going to try to get these hostages and things like that. And so then the whole world turned on them like junkyard dogs. The whole entire world turned on them like junkyard dogs. And the same thing, especially Americans who have been turning on Israel like junkyard dogs, when you judge, you'll be judged in the same manner that you judged. And so when it's your turn to go out there and stop people from killing your families, all right, the whole entire world is going to turn against you and talk about how you guys are, doing this and doing that and being violent and all that stuff. And that's what I think this letter is really stating, is that, they're going to create a violent event, and then when people rise up to protect their own, they're going to cause them to kind of destroy their own moral compass, so to speak. Okay, because I don't care who you are. All right, I don't care who you are. All right, when you go out there and you're in warfare, and I have family members, that are have seen active combat, and I have seen firsthand experience, and I have friends who have been in active combat, and I've seen what happens to a man when he has to take another man's life. I've seen it firsthand. And I don't care what you believe. All right, I don't care who you are. I don't care how tough you are. When you take another man's life, it changes you. It does. It changes you, even if you have to do it to protect your own. Okay, and so I think that when this, I call it a civil war, revolutionary war, kind of combined, in World War III at the same time, our soldiers are going to be spread thin. They're going to spread them thin across the board, and then that's going to leave the homeland here in America. And I'm just speaking for America because I am American, but it's going to be the same thing in the UK, the same thing in Australia, same thing in Canada, same thing all over the globe. Okay, it's going to leave the homelands open for attack on our own soil. And then it's going to be up to the civilians, and then everywhere, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries that have been inserted politically, financially, even, obviously physically, these sleeper cells that are all over the place. When they finally activate those, and this kind of event that we're seeing right now take place, and I wonder if it is going to escalate, definitely would get these sleeper cells to come out of the woodworks. Now, here's the thing. Iran, I've shown you in past lives, and it was quite a while ago, a couple months ago, where Iran absolutely did release a note to all their sleeper cells saying, get ready, get to the point where you're ready to be active. And then even Al-Qaeda had come out, and their leaders had told them, get ready to get active. I think we're going to see something big happen. It's not going to just be over there, so to speak, in the Middle East, but it's going to be on the home front too, because we have plenty of people that are here that want to destroy America, that want to see America's destruction, and I want to prepare not only God's people, especially, but I want to prepare people who watch this channel for what's about to happen. And I think something really violent is coming. And I've been trying to warn people. The Lord has shown me, and I'm no prophet, but the Lord has shown me in a couple of dreams that everybody that's on the ship of America, or just in general that's on this ship that's in today's society, is going to get tossed around. This is going to be, I think, a little chaotic. And yeah, it's scary. I get that. But at least we have Jesus Christ to lean against, and for him to be our shelter in the storm as we begin to go down this road. All right. And the proof is in the pudding. What has been happening. I mean, dude, we're not even all the way through February yet. And look, we could already be in the beginnings of actual World War III, because this is what they're telling us World War III is going to be. The Illuminati are literally have written it out and are telling you what World War III is going to be. And here we are. All right. And so, especially with, like I said, with all the executive orders and the Department of Defense initiatives that Trump has already put into place, it's almost like they know something that we don't. And also the Pentagon Pizza Index and all that stuff. It's been going through the roof lately. All right. Proving that there's something brewing that they're not telling us. And then I just showed you proof that where Trump said a couple of days ago, in the next 10 days, you're going to know what's up. And then this event happens on a date that can be 666 at a certain time. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's kind of all there. I don't see how you could see around it in any way. How you could think it's something else. I think something is happening. And honestly, I pray to God that I'm wrong. I do. I don't want to see World War III actually begin. I don't want to see the world plunged into violence or anything like that. But I mean, it kind of seems like that's where we're going. And so they want this violent rise up to happen. They want the atheists and the Christians to be exterminated at the same time, is what the end of the document says. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Now, here's the thing. I think that's a great tribulation reference, because it says in the Great Tribulation that the Antichrist will be given power to make war with the saints and to overcome them. I don't believe we can be fully overcome until after the pre-tribulation rapture happens. Okay. But I think we're seeing pockets of persecution popping up all over the place. It's as clear as day. Like it's and like I said earlier, China and Sudan and Syria and Nigeria, all over the world, Christians are being martyred right now. And because, we live in a pretty Christian dominant nation for the most part. You know what I mean? We don't really see what other countries are seeing. We're not exactly a minority, even though we are. There's laws in place to keep people from just killing each other, so to speak. But everything is primed and ready for, what we would call the Great Purge. You know what? I've talked about that for a long time, and how, I don't know, when the power cuts out or there's a cyber attack or whatever, people are ready to get out and get busy. And you're already seeing the violence get primed with like I said, the protesters clashing with government, the government clashing with protesters. And then you have even the kids getting out in the streets and getting busy. And I could show you video after video of the violence that's happening within these children that are from high school that are protesting, where they're beating each other up and assaulting police officers. And you know what, adults, I mean, a lot of this is because you're out there acting the way that you are, and the kids see it and they go out and they imitate what the adults are doing. That's a lot of it. That's a huge chunk of it. And so they want this violent event to take place. They want, kind of how, again, like how Israel defended itself against the people that were responsible for October 7th, then the whole world turned on Israel like a junkyard dog. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Christians, the right wing, the conservatives, the Republicans, that go out and go pow pow, all right, to protect their own, to stop the insanity. Because, I mean, we know it's coming. All of us here who are Americans, I don't know what you believe, but I'm going to tell you right now, we all feel the weight of the oppression of the demonic forces encroaching upon our home front and the demons just pouring out of people in today's society. You know what I mean? And it's like, when is enough is enough? They're coming into people's homes and they're murdering people. They're raping our women. They're raping our children. They're killing our children. They're eating our children, for crying out loud. They're chopping them up and selling them on the market. You know what I'm saying? When is enough enough? When do good men finally stand up for what they believe in and do what they got to do? But boy, oh boy, the enemy's going to be there to twist your words around and to twist your actions around and to make you look bad, just like he did with Israel. That's exactly what it is. And you've seen America become so anti-Semitic so suddenly. When, there's pockets of it and things like that. But it's almost like it's trendy now to be anti-Israel. Oh, well, you know what? I don't care. I ain't going to be a part of that. I'll tell you that right now, because there's a reason why we're being invaded by Muslims. There's a reason why they're taking over, because we have allowed anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish mindsets to take root in our country. And it's the mainstream now. Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and all these people all of a sudden becoming anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? When they weren't really before, so to speak. You know, and it's like, it's the Jews are responsible for everything. Well, let me tell you something that's the truth. It's not about people. It's about practice. The Bible says you shall know them by their fruits. All right. And warfare happens. You know, America, if you were attacked and your women and your children were raped and murdered in front of you, let me tell you a story. And this is graphic, but this is the truth. On October 7th, okay, on October 7th, all right, what happened was there was a family in one of these, what they call a kibbutz, and it's kind of like a homestead that's on the outskirts of the village or the city or the town or whatever. So there's this kibbutz, and these Hamas had come in. This is graphic, but they raped the woman right in front of the husband. They put their baby in the oven, turned it on, and was raping the woman while the baby was screaming in the oven. And then they shot the woman in the head. Then they shot the husband in the head, and they left the baby to catch on fire in the oven. I watched them shoot animals when they were coming onto people's property, killing their dogs and all that stuff. It was ruthless. When they said it was barbarism, it was barbarism. All right? And that is coming to America. And I don't care what shit you believe. Excuse my language, Jesus. Sorry, Lord. Sorry, Jesus. But I don't care what you believe. It's coming. Whether you think so or not, it's going to happen. All right? It's going to happen here in America. The same people that are barbaric that were there have come here to do the same damage and deal it out to American citizens. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't believe that you're going to have to go out and defend your family, they're going to force you into defending your family. Otherwise, I mean, if you got someone at your door that's ready to kill you and your wife or your children and do horrible things to them. And I mean, I remember there was a situation on October 7th. I got the videos. The Lord told me, he says, I want you to save these videos, because he says there is a day coming where they'll say it never happened. And I'll tell you right now, I got them in my possession. They literally took a shovel and it was a hoe. It was a hoe from a garden, like it was not a spade, but like a flat edged instrument. And they sat there and hacked at a man's neck until they decapitated him at one of these kibbutzes that they invaded on October 7th. If you don't think it's coming to America, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. The things that are coming are so vile and demonic and bloodthirsty and bloodlusty that America's going to change. The face of America is going to change as we know it. And I've been trying to warn people of this. And what's going to happen is this, and this is what I see coming, all right, is that war is going to pop off in the Middle East. If this is it, war's going to pop off in the Middle East, and they're going to activate the sleeper cells. And I've been showing you video footage after video footage after video footage, okay, of these people coming out and saying, yeah, there's an attack happening and it's imminent. And they said within the next 6 months, and that was like only 4 months ago. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't say that it's on the same spectrum as the Black Awakening that Russ Dizdar talked about, but this is a terrorist attack that they're planning. This is a violent what this document talks about as a bloody social cataclysm, all right, which in all its horror, wouldn't you say that's kind of what October 7th was for Israel? Was a violent, bloody cataclysm, a social cataclysm that was horrific, absolutely horrific. I mean, I could go into detail about them, literally stomping on people's heads until they broke apart, and their brains were all over the place. Absolutely demonic and violent and disgusting. And that stuff is coming to America. The people that did that there have traveled here to America. And as soon as World War III pops off, which I believe if this is it, if this is really happening, if what I'm talking about today with Iran seeming to just have been hit, all right, this really could be the initiating factor, the initiating start. If there's a true destabilization that begins in Iran where they have more protesters that come out and all that stuff, what's going to happen is you're going to see these sleeper cells activated in America. All right, and like I told you with the Reed fires that they're saying that are happening in Iran, they're starting those fires because they want the people watching the news in Iran that are being fed propaganda from the IRGC to believe that it's only Reed fires, so they don't go out and get out in the streets and be like, all right, this is it. Let's do this. It's now. Now's the time. Now's the time for our freedom. Now's the time to fight with everything that you have. All right, I told you these days would come. While I am going to go there. While other channels told you it's going to be peace and everything's going to be hunky dory, I warned you hard times were coming. I warned you hard times are coming because I knew what God was putting on my heart. I'm tired of opinions, and it's time to start listening to the Spirit of the Lord prepare His people. All right. And all I'm trying to do is prepare people to be ready, to be in prayer, to be focused on Jesus, to see what's coming, to know what's happening, to be aware so you and your family are safe, because I want to help get you to the finish line. I want to help get you to the pre-tribulation rapture. I don't want to see anybody die prematurely. I want everybody I know and all the people that watch this channel, that care about this channel, to be able to get to the pre-tribulation rapture on time and safe and sound. And you go up. Just like that, because I'm telling you, it's coming soon. I've been saying it, but it ain't going to be, dates being set and all that stuff. We can't predict that. But these kind of signs that we're seeing here today, these kind of things we talk about in this channel are proof the pre-tribulation rapture is absolutely imminent. And I mean, I think, honestly, it could absolutely happen, all right, this year. All right, this year, okay? I truly believe that, all right? Or next year. All right, it could even be next year. It could happen next year, and then the Great Tribulation could start. I'm telling you, 2030 is around the corner, and they said by the year 2030, you're going to own nothing, you're going to have nothing, you're going to like it. They said the U.S. won't be a superpower anymore. They said that the nations of the world are going to be tested at the breaking point. They said that I think it was like 1 billion people are going to be displaced. 1 billion people are going to be displaced by climate change, but really that's the replacement migration that's happening. All right, that's the replacement migration. That's them bringing in the UN blue helmets. That's what it is. They just ain't got the blue helmets, but it's a spiritual blue helmet they're wearing with the UN logo on it, and they're all already here. They're all already here. And so that, I'm worried that eventually there's going to be some kind of chaotic event happen in America. I mean, I got a buddy named Jamie that me and him were having a conversation, and he lives in the UK, and he's saying it's an all-out invasion what we're experiencing in the UK. I was talking to Jamie just the other day, and I'm really blessed by Jamie being in my life because I have a source that I can talk to that knows what's going on the ground in the United Kingdom that I trust. And he's telling me it's nothing less than an invasion. And I'll add to that and say it's nothing less than a bloodbath already or over there. All right? They're raping their women. They're raping their children. They're murdering their women. They're murdering their children. They're murdering the men. They're murdering the dogs. And you're right, Kai Quinn, that the mainstream won't show you any of this. I'll be honest with you, man. Tough times are ahead, but I'm thankful that we have Jesus to get us through him. or through these times, I meant. I'm glad we have Jesus to get us through these times, and that we can lean into him. You know, we might not have a say, or we might not have the strength to overcome the enemy, but he sure does. He sure does. I'll tell you a couple of stories to give you some hope. Let me tell you a couple of stories about how God does things. You want to hear some stories about how God does things? This is how he does it. All right, listen. And I'm sure people have heard some of these stories before, but for those of you who haven't, listen up, all right? Because this is amazing. All right, and I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm kind of speeding things up, not giving exact details, but these are true stories. All right, so there's some Israeli soldiers that were in the desert. There was an operation happening. They were over enemy lines, and they got separated from their group, and there's just a few of these guys, and they were trying to get back to where they were from, so that way they were safe. They knew they were behind enemy lines. And then so they were walking through this desert area, and then all of a sudden they found a sign that said that they were in a minefield, a landmine field. All right. And then all of a sudden, there's a huge whirlwind that kicked up. And this whirlwind, all this dust was all around. They had to cover their faces to protect their eyes and protect their ears and all this stuff. All right. And it's crazy because all of a sudden, all right, the wind died completely down. Boom. And it was like all the dust settled automatically. And then all of a sudden, the clouds parted and the moon was shining, because this happened at night. And the moon started shining, and they were able to see every single landmine that was in front of them. And they walked right through the fire, literally. All right. I'm telling you right now, we might be going through tough times, but God is going to help you walk through the fire, literally. He will walk you right through the lion's den, literally, and they won't touch you. They won't be able to harm you as long as you are praising him and worshiping him and in communion with him and have a relationship with him. He promises you in Psalms 91. He says, for those of you that basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, that tap into me, that tap into his presence, that's the ones that are going to be protected. And that's what I'm trying to get you ready to do. To get you up off of that couch and turn you into the man or the woman of God that you've been meant to be the whole entire time. All right, I'll tell you another story. There's a group of Israelis that were in this house, and there was mortar fire happening all around them. Explosions taking place everywhere. They were literally in the middle of a battle that was happening. And all of a sudden, the mortar crashed through the ceiling and punched through the ceiling and hit the ground, and it stuck in the ground, and it didn't go off. And it was right in the midst of all of them. And they all looked at each other. And I remember the Jews that were telling this story. It was amazing, man. Like, God will stop the mortars from even going off. I'm not trying to act like I'm a Billy Bad A or nothing like that, but I've been walking home at night, and I was in a place where I shouldn't have been back in the day. And I had a car pull up right next to me, and a man rolled his window down, and he pulled out a pistol, and he pointed at me, and he says, "Do you want to die?" And I just stood there and I looked at him. I didn't run. I didn't shake. I didn't tremble. I just looked at him. And then all of a sudden he pulled the gun back in the car, and he rolled up the window, and the car slowly drove away. I've literally had guns pointed at me multiple times, and God has kept me safe. I had a time where I was in a place where I shouldn't have been, in a drug house, and there was a huge fight that broke out. And I was being blamed for something that I didn't do, and God knew that I didn't do it. Because someone was given keys when they were too drunk to drive, and they ended up crashing into somebody's house. And then there was a group of dudes that came over that were friends of the dude that crashed in the dude's house, and they said, "Who gave him the keys?" And people were blaming me when it wasn't me, to protect the owner of the house, when it was the owner of the house, because he wanted this dude out of his house because he was destroying his house, so he gave him his keys to tell him to leave. And then as soon as these group of guys looked at me, I'm telling you a true story here. As soon as these guys looked at me, they were getting ready to come at me. And I just sat there, and all of a sudden, like, they were fearful. They got scared. And they said, "Josh, we'd never harm you. We'd never harm you. Whoa. We'd never hurt you." And I kind of perceived it like, man, I can't believe that I've allowed my life to get like this. And I'm sitting here in this crack house partying with these crackheads, doing drugs and drinking. and there's violence all around me. It's time for me to get gone, and I'm getting out of here. And I went home. And then it was about 2 a.m, and then all of a sudden, I had these guys knocking on my door in the middle of the night. True story. Listen to this. I'll tell you, it's true story. Knocking on my front door in the middle of the night. I opened the door and I said, "Can I help you guys?" And they said, "Josh, will you come out and will you pray with us?" They said, "Josh, will you pray with us?" I said, "Yeah, I will." And I went out as bold as a lion, man, and I stood around with these guys and I prayed with them. And then one of the guys, while we were praying, he says, "Thank you, Holy Spirit, for stopping me from hurting Josh." And after the prayer, I asked him, "What did you mean by that, man?" You want to know what he says to me? He says, I felt like God telling me that you weren't the one responsible for what happened. And he says, "I had every intention I was going to hurt you tonight. Not that I couldn't defend myself, not that I'm a big guy and couldn't fight back, but God was my deliverer. He was the one that saw me through." Here's another story. So when the Jews were fighting with Egypt during the 6-day war, all right, there was an encampment of Egyptians that were overtaking a few guys that were entrenched, a couple Jewish soldiers, all right, that were they were behind enemy lines. They were in a trench. They're fighting. All right, they're outnumbered. Okay, and then all of a sudden, these Egyptians that they're fighting, they start giving up one by one, and they took off their boots. They took off their boots, and they came out with their hands held high. And these Jewish soldiers are like looking at each other, like, "What is going on? What is going on?" And these, I don't know, must have been 5 or 6 or 7 Jewish soldiers marched this giant group of like a few hundred Egyptian soldiers back to the Israel line, and they arrested them all, and they started to interrogate them and ask them what happened. And they said, "You didn't see the tall men in white parachuting out of the sky, landing down all around you? That's why we gave up. God sent angels that the Egyptians saw that caused them to give up." Now, I'm telling you, I don't care what's happening in your life. I don't care what's about to befall America. I don't care what's about to befall the world. I don't care what's about to befall Canada or the UK or Australia or any of the places, anywhere. I'm telling you, God will be your deliverer if you just lean into him with everything that you are, and you have faith that he will deliver you from your enemy's hand. He will cause your enemies to come worship before your feet, so you know that he has loved you. Not one weapon formed against you will prosper. I'm telling you that right now. I don't want you ever once to doubt that God can't take care of you and walk right with you through the fire pit. He will. He'll walk right with you through the lion's den. That's the truth. That's the truth. So I'm sick of this. "Oh, this is scary," and "Oh, I'm fearful," and "Oh, I can't take this." I'm here to warn you so you know what's about to befall you. And it's time to get right with God. It's time to lean into God. It's time to give it over. Everything you've been holding back, it's time to give him your all. Every last bit of you, every last one of you, give him the rest of the life that's left inside of you. And I know this life wears us down, but it's time to step up to the plate. You're in the end times now. This is it. We're at the final stretch. You know, when you've been running that race and you're so tired and you're worn out, and you ask God for that breath of fresh air in your lungs to keep you going, to keep you fired up, to get you through. And I pray right now in Jesus' mighty name that God will give you everything that you need to get through to the finish line. Stay focused on the prize ahead, everybody. Stay focused on the prize ahead. Because I'm telling you, tough times are here, and it's not going anywhere. The Lord told us that this would get bad. And he said that it's going to get bad all the way up until his second coming. And then there's going to be this war of Armageddon that's fought in the valley of Megiddo in Israel. And it says that the blood will be up to the horse's bridle. And then after that, a millennial kingdom is going to be established. Satan is trying so hard to stop the advancement of the kingdom to come. And he can't do it. He can't do it. There's nothing that could stop what God has prepared for his people. Not a thing. And so don't fear what's going on right now. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it shake you. Don't let it shiver your timbers. Hold on one second here. So, just out, opposition channels report explosions at IRGC bases. Iran reports explosions at the Imam Ali missile base in Karamabad. So this is, they're saying that this is fire and reed beds and all this stuff, and they're saying that this is fake news. Regardless, who runs this? The fact-checking thing, and it's not very big. Let me see something here. I'm kind of curious. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, I don't give it any credibility. There's even Reuters, like right here, Grok's even confirming it right there. Reports confirm fires and smoke in Paran, Iran. This is on February 18th, so just a couple of days ago, they're saying, attributed to reed beds burning with firefighters responding. No official mention of explosions or power outages. Today's social media claims of blast remain unverified. So it's unverified. But regardless of all of that, there's a lot of people reporting it. I know the other day they were reporting it. But here's the thing, regardless, if that, and again, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but I'm 90% sure something's going on. This doesn't look like reed beds to me. And I showed you the footage earlier of the reed bed fires. This was on February 18th. And I mean, if it's fake, I'm sorry. If it's fake news, I'm sorry. On social media, information has begun to spread about explosions in Tehran province. They're saying it's a matter of burning grasslands. Well, then maybe I was wrong. So, Iranian intelligence agency Vajra suspects Jaish-e-Mohammed hand behind these mysterious explosions. Jemaah Pakistan-based terrorist group had warned Iran earlier not to align with India on Chabahar. I mean, what's all this? And this says today, like, I don't know, man. To see the disinformation on both sides of it, like, and this looks like China here. There's like Asian symbols, see? Man, maybe it's wrong. If it's wrong, I'll delete this live. I don't want to put it out there as if it's true. The reason I believed it is because there was so many angles coming out, like this one right here. And they're saying large-scale power outages have begun in suburbs of Tehran. Windows in residential buildings were shattered by the strikes. This says today. Were shattered by the strikes. At least 7 fires were reported. Energy infrastructure facilities were also attacked from the air. Preliminary 3 people were injured. Paran is a suburban satellite city of Tehran in the southwest of the country, built to relieve the capital and develop residential infrastructure. It primarily serves residential and logistical function and is not a tourist or military center. I mean, that doesn't look like grassland fires to me. See, like, that's the thing, too, is I showed you a grok earlier that was confirming possible stuff happening in Iran. Huh. And they could definitely have set grassland fires to counter the information because we know that Iran does not want to look weak. And the thing is that and the thing is so here's the thing. When you have like a situation that has popped off in the past in Iran denied it vehemently, even though it was true. The first time Trump attacked Iran, they denied it and said nothing was happening because Iran never wants to look weak and look like they could be hit, ever. And they definitely don't want more protesters getting out into the streets and getting busy. But anybody that's going to like attack me for possibly getting it wrong, like, whatever, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just here bringing you the news. And this is why I don't really do this like breaking news type of crap. Like that. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, it just don't make sense. Video shows fires burning in Paran near Tehran after several explosions reportedly hit unidentified facilities. Separately, an explosion and fire were reported at the Imam Ali missile base in Karamabad, operated by the IRGC. So it's 2 different sides of the story. You know what I mean? 2 different sides of the story. And if it turns out, I'll keep my eye on it. And if it turns out to be fake, I'll obviously delete the live. I don't want to put nothing out there that's this or that. But they're known for, trying to counter information with disinformation to try to make it look like, yeah, this was the video. This does not look like what we saw. And here's the thing. Again, like, look at this dude just standing around, this firefighter just standing around filming it. This looks like a dude that would work for the IRGC that would be trying to generate propaganda. You know what I mean? These guys have no helmets on. They're just standing there looking, watching like it's a campfire. They might as well get their sticks and marshmallows out and make s'mores. This guy right here, I've seen those things that they use to do controlled burns to like stop burns from actually happening and approaching somewhere. And I've watched them lighten those fires. There's videos in like Canada of that stuff happening. And that's what that little device looks like to me. Like it has like a fluid. It's like not a flamethrower type of thing, but it's similar. It has like a leaky stuff that goes out, and they go through and they spread it in the grass to control the burn. So that way, as it burns towards a certain area, there's like a line that's already burned, so it can't jump that. You know what I mean? And that's what that looks like to me. If this was a real fire, where's the fire trucks? Where's the sirens? It looks like these dudes set those fires and then ran back to film it. Why would they be filming it? I've never seen a firefighter in America stop and take the time to pop out their camera and to get footage of the fire that they're fighting before they fight it. And look at that. You see how small that smoke is? Look at that up in the right-hand corner. You see in the right-hand corner there, it's like it just got set, and watch it then begin to billow. Look, it just ignited. Look at that. Look at right here. Look at right here. Watch this right here. Right here. Look at this. Then it ignites. You see that where it ignites? Boom, right there. And then it grows. Then it billows up. Then it's putting it out there now. It's like someone's over there starting the fire. There's like nothing there right here. You see it? Just a little bit of a glow. And then boom, it really gets big. And look at this one right here. Watch right here. Look at this right here. Oh, that just started too. Isn't that funny? It's small. It's basically not there. And then all of a sudden, boom. Then it's there. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Raise your hand in the live chat if you see what I'm seeing. And I'm just looking at it for what it is. I think the fact checkers are wrong. You're always going to have people, this is the thing, you're always going to have people that are going to be out there on the internet that on purpose, they will sow discord, they will sow disinformation, especially if they're, say, pro-Iran or pro-Islam. You know what I mean? It seems like a really, really terrible... Like this one that's the closest seems to be the one that's out of control. Look at these ones over here, like right here. You don't even see that. And then if you fast forward it, and it pans back right here, then it starts. And then it starts to billow that dark smoke. And then over here, the same. It's not going, and then boom, it ignites. It's like they got guys over in the grass doing this stuff. And these guys have been sent to do it. This guy's filming it for the propaganda for the news channels, so that way they can tell people in Iran, oh, it's just a bunch of reed fires. There's not been any explosions. People are stupid if they believe that they're explosions because of the fact checkers. You know how the fact checkers were right during the pandemic and all. You know. And then the people attacking me just because I'm looking at things proactively, like, you know, I mean, they're not welcome here anymore, but whatever. I'm not going to sit here and fret about it and feel bad because I know that this looks shady. So shady. But that don't look like that. Or that. Or that. So it looks like multiple events happening. And some they're trying to use to cover up. Is what it looks like to me. Right here. Official media reports attribute the fire to dry reed beds along the Shur River right here. But several fires broke out in Paranda in Tehran, or in Iran's Tehran province, causing thick clouds of smoke and power outages. This looks like it's a power outage, that's for sure, right? That this could cause a power outage. That is an out-of-control fire. Let me tell you, with firefighters just standing around, hanging out, roasting marshmallows. And even if it's an active situation in Iran, it's something that I didn't know. Even if this has been happening for the past few days or whatever, I didn't know. Seeing the footage of it now. A lot of people saying, Explosions reported at an underground military facility in Paran and at Imam Ali base in Karamabad in western Iran. And they're saying that missiles have been deployed. Yeah, look at this right here. Look at this blue smoke behind the mountain. This right here. So I don't know. Just have to watch it develop more. That does not look like reed fires in the city. That does not look like reed fires in the city to me. Look at that 5G tower, too. They got 5G in Iran. Of course they do. And there's more organized protests just a few days ago. So of course here's the thing. Let me point this out too, right? So it's like this. It's like, okay, in America, if this was happening and your government told you to believe something, would you believe them? Because here's the thing, we in America don't trust our government, so why would we all of a sudden trust Iran's government to be telling us the truth, or their media to be telling us the truth? The truth. I mean, and I'm not trying to force it to be right. It says eyewitnesses mentioned power outages and blasts. This is what Grok's saying right here. And Grok has been wrong plenty of times too. I mean, there seems to be an awful lot about it. Post after post after post after post. And a power outage. Oh, wow. Cars burning. Has a civil war begun? Oh, this is across China. This is China here. They're saying as the civil war begun, shocking reports of explosions at multiple military bases across China. That's interesting. While others say, yeah, Grok is just going on off of what everybody's saying. While others suggest possible military involvement, official details remain unclear and unconfirmed. I didn't say I was 100% positive. I said I was 90% because it looked fishy. Trying to see if there's anything else around that could show us anything. Reports from today indicate explosions and thick smoke rising from multiple sites in Paran, with power outages in some areas. This occurs amid escalating U.S.-Iran tensions over nuclear talks. Iran threatened U.S. bases if pressured, while the U.S. has warned of potential strikes if no deal is reached. Details are emerging. Monitor official sources for updates. Let me see what I can find elsewhere on the internet real quick here. I don't see anything on any official sources or anything like that on Grok or on Google. So I mean, I don't know. I've said what I could said about it. I'll leave this video up just in case, you know what I mean, for people to watch. People can decide for themselves, you know. People can decide for themselves what's going on. I don't necessarily believe the fact checkers, that's for sure, and I definitely don't necessarily believe the Iranian television to tell us the truth. That's for sure. They've been known for their disinformation. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I'll just have to wait for the hate mail to roll in. Wait a second here. That is in China. Seems like there's just if something's going on, seems like there's a lot happening all over. They're saying even in China now. So this is obviously pertaining to something different. And as the post, I can't see the post that's replying to, but poking fun at past Iran explosions officially called gas leaks. And that's again, Iran has called the past explosions that have taken place gas leaks. So why wouldn't they say it's a reed fire this time? But suspected by some as Israeli sabotage, e.g., 2024 pipelines. No actual event or apology reported for February 23, just dark humor and intentions. Today's the 22nd, though, so it's not talking about tomorrow. Yeah, Iranian media says dry reed beds along the Shur River caught fire. So that's their official position. All while there's protests everywhere. If your regime was about to fall, wouldn't you want to lie to people and make them not think that America or Israel is hitting to get people to uprise against you? I mean, that's a lot of people right there. Iran's pissed a lot of people off. We know that. But I'll be honest with you, regardless, everything, what I said goes, And we know that tension is very high with Iran right now. Everything I said before about the word, everything I said before about Jesus, everything I said before about God protecting you when it's coming absolutely stands. I will unapologetically state the same thing over and over again because I know God takes care of his people. But I can't officially say that there has been an attack, but that's why I put up in the label on this video, it seems that there's been an attack, but I guess only time will tell. So at this point, I'll probably leave it here for now. And if anything pops off more, I'll be sure to go live. And then if this turns out to be nothing, then I'll just take it down and I'll issue an apology. Mistakes do happen, but I don't exactly believe what they're saying is the truth because before they were calling them gas leaks when they weren't. So, anyways, I hope you guys at least have a decent rest of your afternoon and, stay warm because it seems that winter's back a little bit. So, may God bless you all. May He keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.